Welcome back to another episode of The John, your daily sports dump, where we plunge in the sports world. We are a sports pipeline for breaking news, game recaps, and the hottest takes in the sports industry. So by taking care of business, let us flush out the details and fill in what's happening. So take a seat, get comfortable, and make sure you have plenty of TP. It's time to explode the commode. I'm your host, John, and today we're joined by star Cincinnati Bearcats catcher Enzo Infelise. Enzo's been making an impact behind the plate while contributing offensively for the Bearcats this season as they're off to a hot 12-4 start, if I'm not mistaken.
Sure. Yes,
Um,
sir.
they're off to a hot 12-4 start. Enzo and I have a mutual connection in Jackson, and Enzo, thank you for taking time to join us today.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. I'm excited for it.
Mhm. So, like I talked about, Jackson is a mutual connection between us. You guys played at the same high school, so we're going to talk a little
Yeah.
bit about your high school experience. You were considered one of the top guys in Illinois coming out of high school. When did you realize that you started to have like a reputation of when you were going into every game, you were at the top of each team's sort of scouting report?
I think obviously playing at Providence Catholic, it's a good program over there. I wanted to get around good competition pretty quick, and I did that. Also, I was playing travel ball over 13U, 14U with Sparks. I was going Florida, Georgia, and stuff, and getting that type of competition pretty early in my life was pretty good and helped me see that I'm not the best player always and that there's always things I can get better at. And then also just being around, like you said, I know Smitty, being around Smitty, he's made me a better player. And yeah.
Totally, totally. And did being ranked as one of the better players add pressure and did it kind of motivate you to want to be better, having sort of that target on your back going into every game?
Yeah, it's a cool thing to look at being highly ranked in your state, but I try not to I don't want to look at it as much, I don't want to be thinking I have to live up to something that I'm not. So I try to keep that away out of my head as much as possible and just play the game that I love playing all day.
Totally, totally. Looking back into your high school career, what was there like a specific moment? Because I talked to Jackson about this. I've talked to all the guys that have played collegiate, baseball, any collegiate sport that
Yeah.
I've interviewed. Did you have like a moment where you're like that you remember in your head where you're like, I can go Division 1, like I can play this at the next level.
I would say it's a tough one. I would say probably my freshman year, in playoffs when I was facing a D1 pitcher and he had good stuff. I mean, stuff I've never seen before. A curveball that's breaking pretty late, changeup, location. I would say freshman year, later in the year is definitely when I realized that I can be one of those guys and play at the Division 1 level.
Mhm. Totally, totally. And then I I feel like it would be a disservice if I didn't talk about it. You won a
Yeah.
state championship in high school with Providence Catholic. What do you remember most about that run?
Just guys want to play for each other every day, and I feel like that's what it is here. And I feel like just all my best friends playing with them was a great time, and it was just fun, man. It's hard to explain, put into words, but yeah, great time. High school
Totally.
baseball, man.
Totally. And then now we're going to kind of pivot to Cincinnati. When you're getting recruited, what made Cincinnati the spot, right? Because you were one of the top, not only in Illinois, but in the country. You're one of the top guys in the country at your
Yeah,
position. And when you think of those top guys, they're going to a SEC school or a Big Ten or, right, one of the better Big 12s.
yeah.
And Cincinnati's not really on that map. So what made Cincinnati sort of the spot for you?
I committed pretty early my sophomore year to University of Oklahoma, and then the coaching, not the coaching, the August 1st rule came in, so I wasn't really talking to the coaches. And then August 1st came around, I started talking to coaches. Then over time, I didn't really feel like it was the best spot for me, which happens. And then KP, Coach Petarudo came. He texted me and it's like got on a phone call, and talking to KP, he's a good dude, man. And I just felt like it was home as soon as I came here on my visit. As soon as I stepped on campus, I knew this was my spot. I knew all the coaches were really nice, really cool, easy to talk to. And just what they're going into. The Big 12, they're in the Big 12's third year now.
Mhm.
And I think Coach B's done a really good job. And I think it was just home, man. That's what it felt like home.
Totally, totally. And that's something that obviously is really important. And now I think I think you guys are one of the more underrated teams. If you like,
Oh
you
yeah,
guys are 12-4,
12 and
and
4,
I feel
man.
like nobody's talking about how
Yeah,
well I mean, I talked to Jackson about it. You guys went to Auburn and beat them pretty handedly. Like,
yeah,
and I
yes,
feel
sir.
like that's not getting talked about
Yeah,
enough at all. And that's why I was interested to see because like I talked about, all these guys, that 17-year-old, we'll talk about the World Baseball Classic later, but
yeah,
17-year-old in the World Baseball Classic, Vandy guy. Like all
yeah.
these dudes are Vanderbilt, like SEC
Hmm.
guys and
Yeah,
all that.
SEC guys. Yeah,
And I feel like the Big 12 is an underrated conference for
yeah, for
for
sure.
baseball. Um, what did the coaching staff tell you what your role was going to be when you were getting recruited? Because something else that you don't see a lot in baseball, right? In basketball, you see it more, but I feel like baseball and football, those guys usually take their freshman year. They'll either get redshirted or they don't play much. You're basically, I think you've played almost every single game this year.
Yeah.
So what were they telling you when they were recruiting you? Was that part of the plan, or did you kind of have to work your way towards that?
I mean, obviously college baseball, there's older guys. There's guys at every spot. I mean, Jack, he's a great dude. I just wanted to come in and compete. They didn't give me a starting spot. I mean, you have to earn it. But yeah, they had a lot of high hopes on me, and I think I came in this fall. I mean, I did my job. And I feel like I just went out there and competed. I think I earned the spot, and you know, just really like getting the bond quick as well. Like it helped me a lot. Getting on the field, talking to everybody, getting to know everybody. Just doing my thing out there.
Totally, totally. And you talked a little bit how right when you got on campus. And what was that like in fall ball? Like, did you kind of have any moments of because right, baseball, I've said this, I feel like every time I've interviewed a baseball player, you're
Yeah.
a Hall of Famer, you're going 3 for 10, right? Like
Hmm.
you're getting 30%. So did you have any
Shoot.
moments of
Hold on, you're
struggling?
lagging.
Oh,
Hello.
yep, I hear you. You froze a little bit. This is this is the same issue happening with with Jackson too.
Sorry, you cut out. You cut out
No,
in the last spot.
you're good. You're good.
It's my fault.
So I was just kind of talking about like when I was talking like in baseball, 3 out of 10, you 30%, you're considered a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Did you kind of have any moments of like early on in fall ball, right? Because college from all the right, I'm not a D1 baseball player. I play club baseball. That's not really that much of a change compared to legit D1. Were there moments in fall camp and in the fall scrimmage games where you started to question like, am I good enough to be here? Did you have any moments of like that kind of where you're like questioning yourself?
Yeah. I mean, when I got here, I feel like no, I was here in the summer with a lot of guys, and
Okay.
that I'm not. Oh, I'm just another guy with a bunch of dudes. You know what I'm saying? I feel like there was maybe a week and a half patch where I was just a little bit in my head, getting on my stance, trying to do too much. But but I have guys that are willing to help me, like the older dudes, like they're talking to me, the coaches are talking to me, they're willing to get working with me. I mean, it's always something that's good that's happening, even though it's in a bad spot, like I can get something out of it instead of just taking in all the bad stuff and getting in my head. I think that's what helped me the most in the fall was just having a clear mind, just going up there and just, doing my thing, like I said.
Totally. Totally. And then we talked a little bit about it. Um, what what is the transition sort of been like, right? Because this time last year you were hitting some guys who were throwing 80s, some maybe even 70s. Now you're
Mhm.
facing dudes, basically everyone is throwing 90 plus,
Yeah.
insane movement. So what has that kind of been like for you?
Yeah, it's been different. Yeah, I'll tell you that. I'm not getting middle fastballs anymore. I mean, everything's going to be located. Everything has movement. There's ride now. Um, I mean, pitchers now are so hard to hit, but yeah, I would say that the biggest transition is also like we have film all the time. Like that's helped a lot. Seeing guys before they even thrown, like I know what's coming, what's going to be happening, what pitches are going to throw more often, different counts, but just seeing all that stuff, I think that's been like the biggest transition is just to like honestly have a clear head and just stick to my approach while I'm hitting.
Totally, totally. And I've also talked to obviously other Division One guys, and they said that the speed of the game at the college
Oh
level is
yeah,
a lot different. What has
quick.
that kind of transition been like for you?
Every guy runs like a almost sub four down to first base, so I'm not one of those guys, but it's quick. I gotta things move faster, but playing the game fast is also a good thing. Like that's what's helped me a lot too. I feel like the fall has helped me a lot with that because there's pitch clock, there's you gotta get your eyes up and stuff like that. But yeah.
Totally. What is right? We talked about it earlier. You've been getting a lot of opportunities. What has helped you been able to adjust so quickly and kind of it? I mean, it looks like the way you're hitting 340, right? Six, I think doubles. You've been able to adjust so quickly and make it look like you've been playing college baseball for a couple of years now. So what has that made that so easy for you?
Uh, like sticking to my approach, like KP and Coach B give a like. There's an approach that we have is sticking to what we have. And it changes with two strikes, obviously, because got to expand a little bit. But I'm just having the same thought process every time. Not trying to do too much. Just get on base for my team, do some damage. Yeah. I just always have a clear head. Not really trying to change the game, slow the game down when I'm in the box. Yeah.
Totally. What has been the difference, right? You talked a little bit earlier about high school pitching and college pitching. What has been the biggest, hardest thing that you've had to adjust to in facing Division One level pitching?
I would say it's a tough one. There's a lot of it's hard. I would say more guys nowadays, like especially in college, they're all getting right on their fastball. You got to pull them down. But yeah, I would say like the toughest thing for me has been laying off of the high fastballs because of the ride at the top of the zone. It looks like it's striking, it's riding up. That's been like the toughest adjustment for me and just sticking to my approach, which sometimes I'll get out of. But other than that, I mean, just trying to get the right pitch to hit, honestly.
Mhm. Totally, totally. And then what is something you've talked about how the coaching staff has done like an amazing job in helping you and getting you better. What is something right when you stepped on campus that you have been able to completely develop and is like night and day and you're really happy with how it is has turned out now into the early parts of the season?
I would say my catching for sure. Like during high school, I was dropping balls. I wasn't moving good side to side and getting my hips. I needed to get something going with my hips because I'm not the most flexible dude, but you know, um, our catching coach, Coach Trades, he's been really good. I mean, the toughest thing for me has been always like framing the inside pitch, and he's got me in different stances and stuff like that. To receive that pitch better, and I feel like that's really paid off for me. I haven't gotten the most games to catch, but I've caught I think probably two and a half, 3 games now, and I felt really good back there, and I feel like that's been the biggest change for me is my catching. I feel like my catch and throw has always been there, but just working for the pitcher, working hard for him every time.
Totally. And that was perfect segue into my next couple of questions, right? Catching is one of the most demanding and hardest positions. You're in the game every day. I have a brother who's a catcher in high school as well. So like
Yeah.
you're I mean, and I know the wear and tear it takes on your body. So what made you fall in love with catching?
No, I was always on and off catching when I was a kid. I mean, I would catch for a year and then I would take a year off because my knees would always hurt. And
Yeah.
then I would say probably as soon as I got to high school, I wasn't really catching in 14U, but as soon as I got back into high school, I started picking that back up. Realized I was pretty good at it, but not the best at it. But I always loved just working with pitchers and just always having the ball, throwing runners out. I mean, that's always been fun for me. Um, yeah, I just love it back there.
Totally, totally. And then to kind of, right, we talked about the physical side of it. For people who don't really know the catching position, what's the mental side of catching been like? And I'm assuming at college, it's a completely different mental side compared to the high
Yeah,
school
sure.
level. But what has the mental side of the game been like for you, and how do you kind of deal with that?
I would say the mental side of it is just always working with your pitchers, know what your pitcher has, talking to your pitcher. Because every guy has different stuff. especially guys are throwing way harder than high school. It's much harder to catch. So you always got to be on the same page with the guy. I feel like that's been the mental side, honestly. Um, but yeah, it's hard to say what it is for catching on the mental side of stuff, but just staying zoned in all the time, honestly, and having a clear, you got to have a clear head too while you're catching because it's a tough position, man. There's always stuff that you have to block fastball that's spiked. You got to throw dudes out too. I mean, it's tough. It's a tough position.
Totally, totally. And then what right, you've only caught a handful of games, obviously.
Yeah.
But what has it been like to you're a freshman, you got to build, right? I just interviewed a Bradley catcher, Cal Lighton, and
Mhm.
he's catching every game and he's also a freshman. He's catching a lot. So what is it like for you to build you got to build a relationship with the pitching staff and a lot of those guys for the most part are going to be older than you, right? You're a freshman. So
Yeah.
how has that been like building you got to build you talked about it building relationships with the pitchers. What has that been like for you?
It's been great, honestly. All the pitchers are really good dudes. They're easy to talk to. A lot of them are pretty older too. So, they'll tell me what they feel like that I could do better at because, they're pitching the ball to me. So, I mean, yeah, they've also helped me too, to be honest. Like they'll tell me if like a ball that I dropped, what I could have been done better on. But yeah, our pitchers are great dudes, man. Yeah, that's all I got on that.
Totally, totally. And then what is one part of catching that fans don't realize is like extremely difficult that you feel like is something that's not talked about, right? Like people always like, oh, blocking's hard, stuff like that, framing. What would you say is something that fans don't talk about enough that you think is undermined?
Getting back there for 9 innings, man. Like, and yeah, I mean the blocking part, and you gotta block a spike 93 fastball. You gotta suck it up and block it. So you're not expecting to, but you got to. I feel like those two are the hardest parts for sure.
Totally. And then, right, I talked about Jackson. I got our own little questions based on your relationship with Jackson. You and Jackson played together in high school, and now you're teammates again. What
Yeah,
has that experience been like? Because obviously you took a year off. He was here at Bradley,
yeah,
and now you guys are back together in Cincy. So what has that kind of been like for you guys?
yeah. Smitty was my boy in high school. I was super close with him, so I always knew Smitty was a dog. He went over to Bradley, did his thing, which I knew you do. Dude's a gamer. And then he told me because we were playing. I remember last year it was like end of the year for Smith, and I was playing a game. He came up in the clubhouse, and I was talking to him. He was like, "Yeah, I'm in the portal, dude." And I was like, "Dude, come to Cincy, man. It's time to come to Cincy." And then little do you know, KP texts him, and Smitty's like, "Dude, I'm coming to Cincy." And then it was sick, man. I was hyped. No, it's Smith. I mean, he's one of my best friends. So yeah,
Totally. And I think, you talked about how well he's did last year. He's off to an even better start this year. I
yeah.
mean, he's got as many home runs, or I think he's got two home runs. Last year he had three, and
Yeah.
you're what, 16 games in the season? Like
Mhm.
he's having an amazing year. And
He's
I
doing
think
his thing.
he talked about and this kind of be my next question. For him, he was very, under recruited, right? He felt like
Yeah.
he got out late and he just felt like he had to reach out to Bradley, then they came out like it was a whole thing. So for you, for someone who is right, it felt like kind of the opposite. What would you give to someone if someone in your position, right, who has maybe a bunch more offers coming in and you're getting offers from Oklahoma and SEC, right? Cincy, a Big 12 or a Big 10, stuff like that, where you have a bunch of schools, whereas Jackson kind of only really had Bradley and some other schools. You had a bunch of schools kind of looking at you.
I would say, just trust the process. Like Smitty was saying, I obviously watched the podcast with Smith. I would say, yeah, trust the process. Smitty did that well. I thought I could have trusted the process a little bit more. I was early, but I felt like it was the right place at the time, but it ended up not being. But that happens, it's college ball. Guys are looking for guys every day. There's maybe a junior in high school that's looking to get recruited, and there's also a guy that's in the portal that's 22 years old looking to get recruited. So, it's always just you have to know what the right place is at all. Like it's hard, just picking the right place, what place feels like home.
Totally. And then another kind of question of Jackson, you talked about how close you are with him already. Does having him at college kind of make it an easier transition for both the personal life and also for the baseball life? You already got your one of your middle infielders that you know really well.
Yeah. Smitty coming to Cincy helped me a lot because I knew I already had one of my guys there. The social life was going to be way easier with Smith.
Hmm.
And then also like I talked to Smitty a lot about the game, but we try just to leave it out there at times and just be good friends off the field and then be teammates and good friends on the field. I mean, that's how it is. But yeah, Smitty has done like he's done a great. He's a good dude, man. And then also when I came here, I knew a decent amount of guys too, which was a big thing for me coming here as well. Like the Sub Six. There's a lot of dudes from Illinois.
Yeah, that when I was looking at the roster and stuff, I was kind of surprised. I feel like I'm pretty in tune. I felt like with the high school ball in Illinois and stuff, and I was
Yeah,
looking. I was like, wow, that's a lot of like Illinois, like
Illinois
Marist, like
guys. Yeah,
yeah. There's a good amount here. So kind of talking now more about Cincy. What has been your favorite memory so far playing at Cincinnati? Obviously, everyone I feel like talks about the first home run. You haven't gotten there yet,
yeah.
but
I have not.
what has been your favorite moment so far? Would you say at Cincy?
I would say the win against Auburn, like it really like shows what our team's got,
Hmm.
um, which I think we're really good. But yeah, that was a surreal moment. You know, I'm always watching, you know, they're always on YouTube, whatever, the TV all the
Wheels.
time. When I'm in high school, you know, I'm watching Auburn, those guys. But yeah, just playing against them was like a surreal moment for me that, you know, I'm one of those guys too, and I got to compete with them. It's a regular baseball game from there on out. Yeah.
Yeah, what was it? What was it like? I talked to Jackson a little bit. What was it like playing in that sort of SEC, right? Midweek. It's a top 10 team. You're going to a top 10 team atmosphere.
Yeah.
What was that kind of like playing in that atmosphere in Alabama?
Yeah, it was crazy, man. It's SEC baseball. It was fun. It was a surreal moment for sure. Just being around all those people, just you know, spotlight's on you when you're in the box. You gotta get something done. If you don't, you know, you're gonna get chirped by those Auburn fans. So you gotta just stick to your plan, do your thing up there. And I thought it was a really cool moment playing against them.
Totally. What would you say are some goals that you have for yourself, right? Obviously, we're early on. There's what fit you guys 640 games left in the season. Still, you guys
Yeah.
got a lot more to go. But what would you say are some goals that you have for yourself for the rest of the season? Then to follow that up for the team, what are some goals that you guys got as a team?
You know, a goal for me is just honestly just to do my part and play a role in this team and you know obviously keep it up with the bat and you know try to contribute as much as possible you know obviously there's bigger things I want to do and you know like be Big 12 player of the year, you know, that's a goal of mine. Other things like that. You know, as a team, I feel like that we could go super deep, man, in the playoffs or cut the whatever going to Omaha. But
Yeah,
I really feel like we have a really good shot at, you know, making it deep in there. But yeah.
totally. And then what would you say is a place you're kind of looking forward to play at? I was talking to Jackson. He said
Mm.
BYU. What is a place that you're looking forward to playing at this year?
There's a lot of cool spots, but I think probably Oklahoma State. I
Okay.
heard a lot of guys been talking about it. It's a huge stadium. It's basically a big league ballpark, and
That's
I'm
sick.
super excited to play there. I heard the ball flies there, but yeah, I'm super excited for that.
Totally. And then um these are kind of like a little more laid back questions. We're near the end of the podcast. World
Yeah.
Baseball Classic, I'm assuming you watch,
Yeah.
has started up now. And I asked my most recent guest, Cal Lighton, who he thought was going to win. Who do you think's going to win, and who are you rooting for in this World Baseball Classic?
I'm obviously rooting for Team USA, but I really want I want USA to win. I think they need to get their get back on Japan this year.
I agree. I
Hopefully.
agree. Have have you obviously we're early on in the games, but have there been kind of a game that you've kind of watched that has been kind of your favorite game so far, or have you kind of only had? I know obviously you had a
Yeah.
doubleheader yesterday. You kind of been a little
Yeah.
busy with stuff, so I completely get it. But are there some other teams that you're kind of looking at in this tournament, thinking like you'd be happy if they made it far?
Um, I'm trying to think. I mean, I watched the USA game a little bit last night, and I think the seventh inning and beyond. But um, I would say I want to see Italy make it far. You know, I'm Italian. I want to see them. I want to see them do something good, and
Totally.
you know, s- see what happens with them.
Hey, I'm a big time White Sox fan, so I would hope that Italy does well because two of the three guys are some White Sox
Yeah,
prospects. Teal and in it. I'm not even going to try and
yeah,
say it. Hayes.
yeah, and it's and yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So who are some right? You're a catcher, obviously. Who are some catching MLB guys that you kind of looked up to growing up?
I was always a big Yachty guy, still am. That was my favorite player by far. I always like Salvador Perez. When he was, Salvy's pretty old now, but when he was younger, he was always throwing dudes out.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I like those two a lot.
totally.
Bigger dudes that could hit and, throw dudes out and be a good catcher.
Totally. And then right to kind of wrap it back to high school, who was the hardest pitcher that you were ever facing in high school?
Hardest pitcher. All right. Uh, I would say this is a tough one. I would say there was three guys. I would
That's
say. I would say Joe Olson at Louisville. He's a freshman over there. I would say Connor Essenberg,
yeah.
who's with the Braves
Friend,
now.
friend of the podcast, actually. I got to interview him.
Nice. And then I would say Jack Bauer,
Yeah.
obviously.
Fair. What was it like seeing 103 and 102 in the box is in a high school game especially? What is
Yeah.
that kind of like for you?
We were facing in the playoffs. It was rowdy for sure. Sectional final. Yeah, seeing 100 in the box, it's different for sure. I mean, the ball's coming in there, it's sizzling. But yeah, just again, like, when I'm facing that, you gotta treat every at bat the same, having a clear head and just trying to hit the ball hard through the middle of the field. And, our team, we got on them. I mean, we
Yeah.
got them out in the second, got 6 runs off of them.
Yeah.
So, I feel like everyone was really excited to play that, obviously, because nobody's ever seen 100 before. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I was at that game.
Okay.
And I was like, and this is no disrespect to you. I was surprised you guys were piecing them up that well.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, we were 2 days before that. We had the machine out there and we were cranking that thing up. It was like we had the radar gun out. It was like 99 to 104, and I mean, we were swinging and missing a lot, but we were also because it's a machine. Some guys were barreling balls and putting some balls over the fence, but just like the preparation for it, it helped a lot, to be honest. We didn't have it on sliders that were 90 to 92 with wipeout.
yeah.
But yeah, just, yeah, I mean, so I was pretty surprised too,
Yeah, that was, and
happy
I
for
was,
the
I
guys.
was, I was able to, watch his bullpen, and I saw his slider. Um, I
Yeah,
that might be the
devastating.
nastiest pitch I've ever seen. Like,
Yeah, it's hard. It's tough, man. That thing's moving like yeah.
and now he's at Mississippi State doing his thing.
Yep.
What would this is kind of my last question to wrap it all up? What would be some advice that you would give to a kid who wants to play college baseball and be competing and doing what you're doing, right? Hitting over 300 in their freshman year, kind of being a big part of this team offensively. So, what's advice that you would give to someone?
My biggest advice would be have fun because, like, at the end of the day, you're not gonna be able to play baseball forever, and try to treat every game like it's your last. Just have fun. It's a kid's game, so obviously if you gotta have fun in it.
Totally, totally. Well, Enzo, thanks for taking time out of your busy, season schedule
Yeah, no problem, man.
to make this work out. I really enjoyed it. Thank you guys for watching today's episode of John, where he plunges out everything sports and flushed out all the nonsense. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss another episode. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram for sports updates and hot takes in real time. Join me next time on the John, your daily sports number, where we'll unload some timber with some deep sports knowledge. Until then, keep game face on and stay regular. This is the John.